Not doing the intro.
I'm pretty sure I did the last one.
Not doing the intro. Oh my god.
Yo, I called it! I called it! I freaking called it! What is up, everybody? It has been a very, very long time. Welcome to Two Beans and a Screen. I am CB. This is Comey. And we are here to react to episode 15 of Reborn Rich, which finished airing months ago.
Like last year, man.
And we reacted to them. Well, at least we reacted to the first 13 episodes somewhat on time. And then life got in the way, work got in the way, things happened, and we're like, oh my God, it's been so long. We even recorded an episode and didn't put it up because the two of us weren't able to edit it. A whole bunch of stuff. Needless to say, we're here. We are ready. We're excited. Episode 15. We only have 2 episodes left. Comey, do you remember what happened in the last episode? Scale of 1 to 10.
Maybe like a 5?
Perfect. So we know exactly what's happening. We're very excited to see what happens. And I feel like disclaimer, Comey, I don't know what happens in the last episode, but I've heard that
Yo,
people
I heard nothing.
maybe
I heard nothing. Oh, I don't want to hear what you heard.
Okay, perfect.
Wait, I'm kind of curious now.
Too late. So
we're gonna try to be doing a live react. So, yeah, here goes nothing.
I forgot that was like a whole plot line. They were building up the public kind of crisis that was happening with overspending.
Yes.
Did this historically happen?
I have no idea.
That is the most Reborn Rich opening I have ever seen.
Is that his dad right now? IRL in this? I don't think it's a flashback.
No, I don't think so. The daughter or son, the child.
He aged a
Oh,
lot.
that is such a good shot for that moment, though.
We both had 2 completely different thoughts.
Yeah, very.
Oh, their baby!
Yeah. So there's been a time skip.
Yes. Dude, I'm so lost. Yo, what is that camera? Why is it so shaky?
I feel like we haven't talked about it, but the music always sells these scenes for me. Like,
Yes.
I don't care what else is happening. I'm like, yes, I feel vindicated.
Yes, I love the music.
That poor child.
Oh. How does he know what's going on already?
Yeah.
Also, what year are we in right now?
Very good question. I have no idea. We were in the 2000s already, so...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe 2002? 2003?
Somewhere in that range for sure, yeah.
This is a part where I would skip if I wasn't watching with someone.
Yeah. Good insights. Yeah, I never skip. And the only time that I skip is if it's like a really uncomfortable, embarrassing moment. Those are the only ones that I skip.
I mean, right now he's just driving in the distance, taking a walk because he's so sad. Like, skip.
Okay, but these are good shots to show an example of the lens.
Very cute shot, though.
That slight blur you're getting? It's good.
Yeah. Oh my god.
He probably went there knowing that she'd be walking home at this time, right?
Bro, they haven't been together long enough for this to happen. For him to be longing over her like this. I swear I'm not a
This,
hater.
you know
It's
what?
just...
No, this is the scene right here. They're spending 10 minutes on this, that we feel the connection, you know? They don't need to talk. They don't need to look at each other. They just need to exist in the same space.
It's your favorite.
Yeah, heck yeah.
주무셨어요, 이 시간까지?
할아버지 추모식장에서 행사 중에 네가 안 보이길래 일 때문에 밥도 못 먹고 뛰어나갔나 싶어서.
I swear, if anything happens to her, I
I'm
walk
gonna
away
die.
from the show.
She's gonna die. She's going to die.
No, no, I refuse.
먹어 얼른.
Like, must protect. She is the only good person in this entire show.
Who knows? She might be sussy too.
If that happens, I walk away.
다른 사람
No, there's no way. There's no way.
검찰은 불법 대선 자금 수사에 전력을 다할 것을 국민 여러분께 약속드립니다.
Why are they all there? This is a very intense like shot.
또한 없습니다.
Dramatic switch from what we were just talking about.
정의만이 있을 것입니다.
Haven't we done this plot line already? And he promised it would never happen again, I see. There are certain scenes that I just look at and I go, I wish I shot that.
Yeah, sometimes I forget to read the subtitles. I'm just
당선이
staring at
유력한 야당
the shot.
후보에게
그래서 내가 이렇게 달려온 거 아닙니까? 미안한
He's such a
마음에.
snake, man. He's so fake.
순양물산 이사들 일종의 엑스파일입니다. 이걸 무기로 이사들부터
What a random reference.
이사들로 교체하면 될 겁니다.
Was X-Files even around that time?
I think. I never watched the X-Files, but yeah, it was early 2000s.
I've never seen it either.
순양가족들이 경영권 다툼을 하고
부의장님, 제 얘기를 먼저 들어보시죠.
Dude, everyone's stealing money from this company.
이번에 자네
I would say it runs in the family, but at this point it's well beyond that.
당신 옷을
Everyone who touches
벗길까,
Soo-young.
안 벗길까?
주변을 살피시고 또 조심하십시오.
관제소
Dude, they would have to remove so many reflections. Even those little balls in the background, I assume would have the camera in it too.
그 명을
I love the advertisements.
조금에서 수사해 주시고 앞으로 내가 뭐 이거
Gotta get him in where you can.
뭐 기수 파괴했
Do you notice how on the wide you can tell they actually took the lights out of one of the bulbs?
Oh, and I was staring at the reflection of him walking. Do you hear that ringing sound, or is it just me?
No, there was definitely a ringing sound there.
That
Yeah, there.
sound.
It's like tinnitus. I hope in the behind the scenes for the show they give his skincare routine.
네. 자백하겠답니다.
Huh?
하인석에게 대선 자금을 전달. 그놈의 인권 타령에.
Because of stupid human rights. Wait, didn't he go to prison too? Maybe that's why he's so nonchalant about it.
우리 예준이 아빠 혼자
I
사는 게
think so.
아니잖아요. 내가 해봤잖아.
Yeah, do you think
나는
those are
그때
real?
죽기라도 했지. 아직 재판도 전에 오빠라죠? 왜요? 하늘이 무너지지.
I think they're real.
After staring at it for the entire scene.
Yeah, whatever they're doing, they have to set it up in the next, what, like 20 minutes for the final episode.
크면 클수록 좋겠죠.
Yo, is the wife gonna finally be useful and do something to drive the story forward?
This is the moment. This is her turning point.
압수수색 과정에서 순양물산이 최근까지 명동 사채시장의 차명 계좌를 이용해
Dude, why would you even admit that?
가족끼리 어떻게 이럴 수가 있어? 이런다고 순양이 서방이 차지가 될 것 같아?
Oh my gosh.
내가 더 나빠질 일은
You just threw her career out the window.
안 믿네. 그래,
It's manipulative.
그럼 나 말고
That's manipulative.
행운을 장미란 선수가 은메달을 따면
That's not luck. It's a superpower.
다시 만나.
Ah!
아닙니다. 월급 받고
I
하는
can't wait
일인데
till they skip to
고생은요.
present day and he's like,
가시죠.
I said we would get married when BTS became the best-selling artist in the world. I love the effect they're using with the chromatic aberration.
I know.
재무 관련 실무 담당자들이
I
차관위
love the
타격으로
way
검찰에
the
소환될
Korean
겁니다. 이
language
자리에 모인
emphasizes
경영진들끼리
certain
입은 맞춰야 될것
words.
같으세요.
입까지 맞출 필요 있나요?
It makes it
재무
so
담당자분이
dramatic.
책임지셔야죠.
지금은 여론을 달래는
Or
일이
telling him to take the fall?
제일 중요한 일 아닙니까?
Yeah, I think so.
책임지는 모습을 보일 필요.
트로노스.
It's like Attack on Titan.
고아의 그림이야.
Actually, though,
당신 눈엔
Yo, did you see that weird focus where it wasn't focused on her face for a second?
보이나 봐?
at this point, it's pure chaos. Everyone's just throwing each other under the bus at every opportunity.
Dude, I freaking love it. I love the chaos.
I know you do.
검찰 조사에 성실히 응할 예정입니다.
This is what you've been waiting for the entire time of just everybody.
Yes, I just want everyone beefing each other.
틈틈이 지분이나 이양해 주세요.
And the fact the camera's like slightly off kilter,
네가 도준이를 상대해? 도준이가 널
unhinged.
상대로 생각이나 할까? 어?
Yeah, I don't really like that back and forth. That was like a little bit too much back and forth in one shot.
보여준 결정이라며 환영하고 있습니다. 개인의 인기를 넘어서 순양 기업 이미지
Did you stack that
제고로
shell?
이어져 매출 상승과 주가 상승을 견인.
지금 이 순간 당신이 보고 싶다는 겁니다.
That's cute.
Honestly, I do too. I kind of had this concern when he first died. You notice his presence gone. Like the actor brought so much to the show in terms of presence.
Yeah.
어젯밤에 베이징 올림픽에 나갈 땐 우리 결혼도 하자.
Everything.
런던 올림픽에 나갈 때면 그래. 그때 우리 옆에 아이도 있겠다, 그치?
Yo, he's gonna hit by a car.
This guy gets around being the worst boyfriend ever with a superpower every time.
Yo, he's
Anytime he's like, okay, I know I screwed up
You're gonna
and I was
die.
terrible.
They're gonna die. They're gonna die. Oh my god, goodbye. Bruh.
What is it with car crashes in the show?
Alright!
Did he kill himself?
Oh.
Yo, I called it! I called it! I freaking called it! Okay. Nonsense.
Well then. Are you just in shock or something right now?
I don't know what to do with this information because I think it was episode 2 or something like that, or 3, and I was like, okay, but what if he's the one who ends up killing
Yeah.
himself?
Yeah.
But I figured they would explain it in a way that's like, okay, no, it makes sense that he would be the one to commit it so that he can take over the slush fund so that eventually, when he gets killed or whatever, I don't know. It will make sense down the line. What was that?
I have no idea what just happened.
It's a good cliffhanger, I guess, because now we're like, well, what?
Yeah. But dude, I hate when they're like pausing in the car for just a moment. You're like, dude, you know something's gonna happen. You know, like they're gonna get
You called
destroyed.
it right away. The minute they came up behind, you were like, he's gonna die. They're gonna die.
Especially when the dialogue is like, oh, looks like they're kind of stalled. Should we go around? Nah, it's okay. Like, why would you spend the extra minute adding that in? Like, you're just actually giving it away.
Isn't this basically what happened last time? He's like, oh, okay, I'm ready to get back together. I'm gonna tell her. She's like, yeah, I'm ready too. Let's meet up. Isn't that exactly what happened last time before they met in the restaurant? Like he got like in the car accident and she didn't know what happened to him.
Oh, true, something like that. Or she's like really worried and like
Yeah.
bro.
Classic setup.
I don't know how I feel about that.
This show does so much right, but I do find this one in particular is repeating a lot of the same tricks over and over and over again, and a lot of the same plot points over and over and over again, to the point where like it doesn't mean as much the fourth time as it did the first time.
Yeah, well, I guess they had to have repeat this part because he's like, oh, like I couldn't have dodged, like basically, yeah, I couldn't have dodged it. Like it was supposed to happen. Like I was supposed to die in that car crash. Like I think he was supposed to die in the first one, right? But how did he not? Oh no, the driver came in and saved them somehow.
And he saved him.
Yeah.
He like drove in the middle. How was he alive? We don't know. But hey, you know, he saved him.
He was in a full body cast or something last time we saw.
I guess I like they could pull this off if some genius plan of communicating with himself or something. I don't know. It wouldn't really make sense. But again, that last episode ended with them across the street from each other. Didn't amount to anything. It seems like that was just a stylistic thing.
Yeah, they did not meet in person. Like it wasn't the same moment in time of it. Like I genuinely think that was a flashback.
Okay.
Yeah, but then this time when we saw the father in the bank or something signing a document, there wasn't the chromatic aberration flashbacky type of what is it thing. So like it was present
like vignette,
day
kind of.
Yeah, like it was in the same timeline as we've been calling it now.
Yeah, it's okay. This episode wrapped up the storyline of him taking control of the company. He essentially was able to box out all of the other siblings, these siblings. But there wasn't that sense of satisfaction, and it seems like he's aware of that too. He's like, I don't know what to do now. How do you feel about that, though? Because it feels a little... The car crash is shocking, but I don't feel a sense of satisfaction of him accomplishing his mission. Like, does it feel like you really got revenge for your family's, your mother's death and your own death in the past life? Not really. Like, you put them through a lot of pain, I suppose, in terms of their financials, but
I guess
was it worth it?
Like, there's nothing he can do for his old family anymore anyways. Like, she was already gone. Like, he couldn't save her again. Like, he had to have let that go. Like, there's nothing he can do to ever repair that, I guess. I think maybe he would have felt more satisfaction if, like, all the siblings went to jail or somehow or something. Like, I don't know, but that also seems like such an easy way out, too. It's such a, like, a happy ending for everyone. I think that's what, like, what was it, like, more fan servicey? Like, oh yeah, all the bad guys go to jail and like, he gets to be happy and then he gets to marry the love of his life who he barely had screen time and any chemistry developing with, like...
Yeah.
I'm still not okay about that. I will never be okay with their relationship.
It feels like he's definitely taking advantage of his super abilities to me. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel for her. She seems way too smart to be falling for these antics time and time again.
Dude, wouldn't you think something like sussy? Like, by the time, like, the 5th time, he's like, oh yeah, this is gonna happen. And it happens.
She should know he has superpowers. If anyone should know, she should know.
Yeah, or like, okay, but like, honestly, how are you gonna start that conversation? Hey, by the way, I'm from the future.
Well, you see, I murdered myself, and then... Well, and this is the thing. I thought it was... Actually, I should correct my prediction based off of that. I thought that it would be Jin Do-jun who murdered his past self so that he could keep the slush fund or something like that out of greed. And instead, it seems like his former self is the one murdering him. Does that make sense?
Say that again.
I think I had it backwards.
Say it again.
This is very,
you
very
broke
confusing.
Your own brain.
Look, my brain was never fixed in the first place.
Dude.
You've known me for many years now. You should know it doesn't work in logical ways. Oh man, this show is wild.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, I guess like the second car crash is a very K drama like vibe, where like always keeping you on your toes. You thought one car crash, nah, here's another one. Like these are the sprinkle it in.
There are thematic elements that you've kind of been pointing out as we've watched all of the episodes. One of them being reflections. Thematically throughout, we've seen reflections. A lot of stuff is shot through windows. We get a lot of reflections in things in rooms and that sort of stuff. And again, it's that look back at his former self as well as who he is now, and he's like seeing these reflections of moments times and time and time again. Another one could be car crashes. We've had an absurd amount, and it's not just those two either. I think there was another car crash at some point, and I can't remember what it was. But I feel like somebody got into a car crash.
Wasn't it something at like
Could be wrong.
the motor tracks where they crashed too? Probably. I don't know. Their cars crashing.
Probably. There's definitely something symbolic about this being not a train wreck, but a slow motion car crash. This entire series has been like homing in on this moment of everybody burning, and it's taken 16 episodes to watch everything crash and burn, but we finally got there.
Honestly, I think if we kept up with this, like we finished it on time and like with the correct pacing, it would be. We would probably be way more into it, but like since we took a big break, and looking back on it now, we're like, oh, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. It's a little out there, but I'm all for everyone cutting each other's throats.
Yeah, I think getting everybody against each other is really, really good. And I will say, despite the break that we took, and some of the more absurd moments I think would be absurd even if we saw it back then. But once we kind of got into the thick of things, I was into it. Like, I really do still like the dialogue. I think the writers of the show find really interesting ways to kind of get points across and make them feel powerful. So there was a quote in this episode, and I'm not going to be able to remember exactly the quote, but it had to do with reeds and laying low, and he kind of used that analogy to point out that one day you should learn this skill to follow river reeds, and when the wind blows, lay low to avoid the problem. And it's moments like that, and I don't know if that's a translation thing where they're localizing it or if that's the original writing, but I love the way that they weave those in so naturally, because it's something that somebody in this class would totally throw out. They would have all of these from things they've read, lessons they've learned, all of those. And I think the show does dialogue so well, and it makes it so much more intense.
Yes, I agree. And also, their language is just a lot more. What's the word? Metaphorical? No, like.
Yeah.
It's just like a way with words. It's like it's not the same as English. English just sounds so gross, Like it's just such an ugly language.
No, it's true. It's true. And because English is rooted in so many different cultures, right? Like it does come maybe from England, but it's kind of become the common language. And that means that you have a lot of regionalized language. That's why we have different language than, Australia, for example. We have different phrasing. But it also means that we haven't had these hundreds or thousands of years of one consistent language to build up. So that it becomes a lot more almost fluid and rigid at the same time. We're not speaking about the same things the entire time. I don't really know how to explain it, but it's true that English has developed in a very different way than a lot of other languages, and it's why it's not as pretty to listen to. Maybe not even sonically, but the way we speak. We don't speak in, as you say, like metaphors or analogies, because it's a cultural thing.
Yeah, we say sussy.
Yep. It's one of these things where when I'm thinking about like reviewing this episode, it's so much of the context of this is the penultimate episode. This is the second last one. On one hand, I almost assumed them to wrap up more here, because in a lot of Korean dramas, I find that they wrap up the plot full episode beforehand, and then the last episode is like first 10 minutes, that's the story, and then it's just actually post story. Everything was solved, and then that. So do you think next episode that's what's going to happen? Are we going to get the actual conclusion early on
We
and then we're
have to,
seeing
I think.
afterwards?
Well, okay, the main things we're talking about, like our main story points were how he died, why he died, who killed him.
Yeah.
I mean, in this timeline, it's himself somehow, which we're gonna get an explanation somewhere. It's not gonna be the beginning of the episode too. We're probably gonna get an explanation to that in like a little bit closer to like the middle section, I think, because
I think so too.
They never start off with that. Like they do something so intense like this, and then they get to show you like another flashback or like another scene as to why it leads up to this. So I don't think they're gonna wrap it up in the first 10 minutes, because I think that was just such a huge thing on its own. And
we still have so much to cover. We
yeah,
have so much to
him
cover.
taking over Soon-young, like that is an entire thing in itself too. What's gonna happen to the family members? What's gonna happen to, I guess, 3 Alpha? Like he's not a president. He's still a minister.
Well, he's not president, but he's
minister,
minister of security or something.
Minister of Justice.
Justice. Thank you.
Yes.
It'll be because he's taken on a more prominent role in the second half of the show for sure.
Yeah, like he wants to. Like, I'm so surprised that this family is still like on good terms with him, even though he's basically like, yeah, I'm coming for you guys, but I'm just also not throwing you guys into the deep end yet because you're my family, but we're coming for you.
I think it's a desperation thing, right? Like he keeps thinking about, well, I'm going to keep them close because I'll finally get to put them in their place. And they keep him close because what other option do they have? If they cast him out, he'll fully just unleash on them. So it's that like
That's true.
Uneasy alliance.
Yeah, that's true.
And of course, my favorite plotline has not been wrapped up whatsoever. I still want to know. So we started it way back when with this big meeting of the family years later, right? And they're all going, okay, who gets the shares? And of course, who holds the shares but Jin Do-jun's mother? And she comes in and she's divorced, I believe. Or no, you're not divorced, but they have not seen each other in a long time. I can't remember exactly which it was. They haven't spoken in a long time. She's like, where is my son? So is he dead? Do we know? And was it the other son or was it this son? Was it Jin Do-jun? That whole thing, we still don't have any idea what happens there. Like, okay, so does 1-0 go to jail? Does 1-1? Because that whole thing where he has a heart attack happens.
True. So
there's still so much.
Yeah, okay, like I think next episode's gonna be insane. But looks like everything is kind of following along like the old timeline where like he has to die. Maybe he does die. Maybe he doesn't become the Soon-young chairman person thing. Maybe he's just gonna be a ghost and tell us the story from above. I don't know. This story has took a turn, and I genuinely can't predict what is going to happen next until like I see a little bit of snippets.
That's it. They've left us with such a big cliffhanger that is removed from any. Like, they haven't given us a hint at it. Like, the whole reason that I think I made the original prediction, I was like, okay, well, Jin Do-jun's character has all of this knowledge that obviously he didn't in his last life. So with that knowledge, he would probably make that decision based off of what's going to happen over the course of the story. His old self killing Jin Do-jun is so far out of left field that it's impossible to guess at what's going to happen next, because you're totally right. You know, he has been a bit of a narrator throughout this, but not really. Like, I still feel that he's almost not the main character. We get so little of him acting on things, and so often it's much more of him saying, I set this up. We see the reaction afterwards, and it's seeing the effects on the family. So yes, he may be the protagonist, but he's like a very small portion of the overall story. I feel like it's much more. I thought it was the chairman's story, and then he died. And then now it's more the story of the siblings and the family falling apart. And he's there to basically be like, was it worth it? Or what do I do now? And then he dies. I don't know. I have too many thoughts.
There's no freaking way both of them survived that car crash. Dude, that truck ate the car. His body was basically going to go into the passenger seat, man. Like, there's no freaking way they survived. But at the same time, if they somehow make him survive. I'm just plot armor, man. Like it's just
Plot armor.
K-drama.
Or,
Yeah.
hear me out, car armor. Half man, half machine.
I'm cutting that out.
No, but for real, they have to do something, and there's just so much to wrap up here, and to get back to all of the threads from the very first episode with 1-1. Who was it? It was then 2-1. She was involved with like, I think blackmailing him.
Who?
The
Blackmailing
daughter
who?
of Donkey, was she not the one he was meeting with at the very end, being like, I
Oh,
know about the slush fund?
Yeah.
So there's all of that stuff. We still don't know who actually set up the slush fund. Like, I thought it was pretty clear that it was 1-1, but
Dude, everyone has
who
a slush
knows?
fund. Even their assistants have slush funds.
And I think that's the thing, is like, it's very easy to be like, well, this person's the worst person in the family. They're all the worst person. Let's quickly talk about how it was shot, because there were a couple things that I didn't think about right away that you kind of called out. One being some shaky cam in this scene, where we were getting a very serious conversation, and then we cut back to the close up of him and is like shaking violently.
Bro, I feel like the camera dude just held on for too long, man. He's just like tired. But sometimes like handheld works. It's to show like intense moments. It's to show like to give more pressure, to give intensity, it's to give like uncertainty, like any of that. But like that moment, it was just so like in your face. And I was like, that doesn't even work. All your other shots, like you only had one other shot that was like handheld like that, and or like no, they had more handheld shots, but it was just like more. It was like stabilized or something. Like
Yeah.
like I don't know why they decided to keep that one shot in where it was like shaking, like they're in an earthquake or something. The other handheld shots with the 1-0 and 1-1 worked a lot better. I mean, the first one was also kind of like jarring, like really in your face.
A little
but then-
aggressive, yeah.
But then they kind of just like it evened out. Like they kind of, it wasn't just like one or two shots. It was for like the entire intense moment. But they kind of just cut back and forth on their faces for too long, I think.
Yeah, it's as you said, like you can use them really effectively. This was a case of inconsistency. Like if you're gonna do it, use it kind of throughout the episode. Not all the time. Too much shaky cam is not good for your brain. A lot of people get motion sickness from it, but used effectively, I think it can really enhance a moment. Here, it was, as you said, it was just like one shot, and then it was gone for a while, and then they used it again, and then just never came back. And we haven't seen it much in the episodes. Like, something that I really respect about the show is they've gone with a consistent style. They use a lot of really, really wide angle lenses. So you get a whole scene, and they come right in on the actors. They're not afraid to hold on an actor if it means making something intense. Like, a lot of the intensity comes down to the performances and the music and the lighting. Oh my goodness, the show has some phenomenal lighting.
Yes.
But it shouldn't be the case where you're like, we have to sell this one, and something's not like, no, that's not how you do it.
I don't know. I feel like here and there throughout the episodes, like there is just one thing about the camera that kind of like irks you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it's just maybe they just didn't have a good enough take. Just like that shot where it was on one's wife in the museum, the art museum, where
Yeah.
they like half focused on it. Like they didn't focus fast enough, but I feel like there probably wasn't enough takes to replace it. Because sometimes you just do one
100%.
take.
Yeah, because my first thought was, wow, yeah, you would just do another take to make sure that you react quickly. No, I don't know.
Yeah, no.
Things happen. Like I guess that's all. Even on like the biggest productions, like you're always going to end up with that one shot. You're like, okay, it's the end of the day. We just need to grab this one last shot. And for all we know, it was like 1 a.m. when they shot that. Like people a lot of the time don't think about like, because it looks daytime. They're like, oh yeah, it was day. No, a lot of these shots are done as kind of, okay, we know we needed the scene. It's not super important, so we'll do this as the last shot of the day. You throw up some giant lights, you put a diffuser on it, you shoot it inside, you make it look like daytime. Everybody's exhausted, and you're like, okay, we have to wrap in 20 minutes. Just get it. Okay, we got 3 takes of it. We'll use whichever one's best. If the performance wasn't there or whatever it was, the light didn't work on one shot, you're just going to go with whatever you have.
Yeah. So I don't know. Sometimes when I see that they are using footage, especially if they're going like back and forth on one specific shot. It's like I feel like they
Yeah.
didn't have enough takes, or there wasn't enough right takes that they liked.
That's got to be it, right? Like if you're not cutting back to your wide as your kind of like reference point, like there's something about our brains that need to be put in a space to kind of understand what's going on. It's this weird thing where if you go all in close-ups, we quickly get disoriented and you sort of lose sense of the space. And people underrate space when you're looking at film. Being set in a space really grounds the scene and gives it more impact, but it also communicates to us, where they are, why that's important, because so much of the show takes place in like the study. It takes place in one of the boardrooms. The cars, like they very purposely use the car to communicate certain passages of time, or like this is an important conversation, so it cannot be had in the office. So placing people in the space, but when you're just cutting back and forth between two, not only does it get very confusing, but it undercuts that. Like it just gets disorienting when you're like bam, 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 bam for every line. Like it's very strange. You'll notice in a lot of movies, you'll actually just hear someone off screen and they'll hold on
Yes.
somebody else throughout like half of the conversation for that very reason. So you're not cutting too much.
Yeah, I don't know what they chose to do there, but that was a little too much in that moment. I like how you also caught the lights in the interrogation room.
Because I thought that was so well done, just using those lights, like maybe there was like a bounce back here or something, or when they were like on the close-ups and maybe there's something on the table, but it was like harsh shadows. It was really flattering light on them with just those overhead, but it would have been too much spill. Like it probably, you would see 3 of them across the top. So what we're talking about is in the scene where they are in the interrogation. There's these overhead lights, and it's like thin strip lights, like you would see. They would be like halogen bulbs in some like schools or something like that. They've probably replaced the bulbs with high-end film lights. They unscrewed one of the bulbs closest to camera, and that creates a lot more shadow. Which, why would they not have that light on in reality? But no one's paying attention to that sort of stuff, and so it was interesting to see that there. Okay, but with that, we might as well wrap this up.
Yes.
Because next time we will be doing episode 16, the finale. Same thing. We're going to break it down. We're going to take a look. We're going to give our thoughts because we need to know, Jin Do-jun, are you alive? Did you murder yourself? What's happening with your mom? That's really what I care about. If you had to rate the episode, Comey, what would you give this out of 5?
Maybe a 3.5?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we're getting towards the end, but I still need more answers. This didn't really answer anything for me. It's just showing how he's going to be at the finish line soon, but like he gets hit by a car. He gets destroyed by a car or truck. So I don't know, man. I genuinely that car crash at the edge is just completely threw everything out the window. I'm like, okay, that just happened. I don't know. I need to see the next episode. I have no thoughts. I just need to keep watching now. I need more answers.
And that's how you know it's a good cliffhanger. Even if it's nonsense next episode, it got us. I'll give it that.
Dude, it's so ridiculous. Whatever. We just need to watch the next episode. What are your thoughts
Honestly,
about this episode?
I would probably give it a 3, only because I do feel like they're retreading a lot of the same ground. So it's just not as impactful anymore. At this point, I'm like ready for them to wrap it up. I'm glad he finally has control of the company. It's too bad he died before he could take it, but that's how things go in this world. A lot of death and conspiracy. But I will say, I am very excited. If it was not super late at night and we worked tomorrow, I would say let's roll right into the next episode because I just need to know.
Dude, I was looking at the time and I was like, damn, I wish we could just keep going. I just need to know now, man.
This is it. And this is why I'm so excited to start a new series, because we can just binge through it week to week, 2 episodes per week. It'll be so good. I'm so excited. So excited. All right, but that'll do it. Any last thoughts?
I I kind of feel like maybe. Oh, you know what? I don't know. He got hit by a freaking truck again. I don't know anything. We're cutting it. We're ending it here. Okay. Good night. Goodbye. See you next episode.
Bye.